Hey, this is Draukan from Butler Bot, and this is REKT.
Hello and welcome to REKT Podcast. I am Bunchu alongside my esteemed colleague and co-host Chamber. Chamber, how you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good, man. You know, excited to be here on a fine, I want to call it Tuesday afternoon. I don't know.
Wrong.
Wrong?
Wrong. Try again.
Wednesday?
I think that's right. I think
nice.
It's Wednesday. Yes.
All right. Only one day off.
It's the day I put my recycling out, so it's definitely a Wednesday.
You know what? Is yours every Wednesday?
Dude, don't even get me started.
Buddy, mine's worse. Mine's worse.
Mine's once a month.
Mine's on an 8-day cycle.
8? So, that's so stupid.
It's the fucking stupidest thing in the world. Don't make me start.
Canada sucks.
We have for so many reasons, but that might be the top of the list.
That definitely is. Anyway, all right. So you're doing good on this fine Tuesday.
Yeah.
We have
possibly a garbage day here. I don't know.
You could be, could not be. Who knows? But we have a very special guest joining us. We have Draukan from Butler Bot. How are you doing today, man?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So we're excited to chat with you about your project that you have going on. How have you been? How's the market been treating you? What's been going on in your life before we get started here?
Yeah, I mean, markets are always up, so as long as you don't mess up too bad in trades, things are going well.
Yeah, I mean, if only, right? Like, that would be... We're not called REKT Podcast for nothing, so we're excited to have you on to maybe give some perspective to our listeners about, and even myself, about how we can be, I would say, less REKT, because there's no way I'll ever be not REKT, right? Chamber, you think that's probably pretty accurate?
I get scared anytime you say, like, let's get into this. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, you're like, oh, he's the mush, kiss of death, fuck that guy. Yeah, I get it. Why do I even do this show? I'm out of here. Anyway.
I think it's a pretty common sentiment among a lot of traders that you trade with emotion and you get wrecked. That's basically how it goes. Basically, if you do the opposite of whatever you think you should do, it seems like you'd make more money in some ways.
I would say that's probably accurate. So let's then get right into it. So Butler Bot is your project that we're talking about today. Why don't you kind of tell people what your history is into crypto? How did you what is your history trading, all of that kind of stuff, and then what kind of brought you to creating the project?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much background in trading. I started crypto probably, I don't know, 3-4 months ago, something like that. And, just like everybody getting into it to make money, made my way over to Uniswap. And, Uniswap's great and everything, but there's a lot missing to it. And I envisioned basically having a faster way to execute trades. The UI is good and all, but it's slow. It doesn't update quite when you want it to. And then, trying to fumble and get your trade in and set the gas and do all this stuff right as you're trying to buy the latest, shitcoin that's mooning, going to 100x, and you're trying to get your trade in and it's not working. So, I mean, a lot of that stuff happening has been what kind of led me to at least the simple version of the bot personally. And I probably used it for, I don't know, I would say 2 to 3 weeks at least personally before I started to really make it into more of a envisioning it as a project.
Sure. So where did you, what's your, I guess, coding background then? Because it's not, I would imagine it's not easy to create something like that with that automation and things like that. So what's your background there?
Yeah, I mean, my background isn't in blockchain, so it's, day job is doing web apps and all that type of thing in C#, but Node.js made a lot of sense in terms of speed and just in general the libraries that were out there in the world. A lot of things are done in a certain way for blockchain or blockchain products, so a lot of libraries are available. But basically, yeah, I have a lot of experience in traditional coding, but not that much in terms of the actual token contracts and all that stuff, although I'm getting a bit more versed in that now.
Sure, absolutely. So, in your opinion, then, on top of, what do you see as the biggest struggles with something like Uniswap? What are the bigger pain points that people might have trading? Chamber, what are your big pain points with Uniswap?
I would say my biggest pain points, obviously, gas fees. I've used aggregators that sometimes help, but I find their fees are even worse sometimes. So sometimes going directly to Uniswap or SushiSwap can be a little cheaper. But also just not having good charts on the sites, I think, is another one. It's like you get like a day, like on there's one I use called Matcha, and they'll have a 1 day kind of shitty chart, a week chart, and a month long chart, and that's about it. So those types of things could be a little bit better compared to like a centralized exchange, I guess.
Sure, absolutely. What about you? What do you think the biggest pain points for yourself and what others might be experiencing on Uniswap are?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, the biggest thing was the speed, and that's what I kind of went for with the local bot, was how to solve that issue. As the amounts are changing, really the only thing you can do as a user on Uniswap is open up your slippage, and that gets you, opens you up to front running bots, which can essentially siphon off coins from your trade. So really being able to have an accurate and really fast price feed is something that will get you closer to your actual price, as well as, of course, cranking up the gas fee. But it all depends on how important that trade is to you. A lot of the other important things to me.
Explain that real quick. That front running, the bots front running that you just mentioned, because I feel like that's a term we hear a lot, and I'm not sure that everybody might, including myself, even know what that is exactly referring to.
Yeah. So essentially, the way that Ethereum works is you post a transaction, whether it's it could be from anywhere, but in this case we're saying Uniswap. You press the button on Uniswap, I want to buy, and you essentially go into a pool of unconfirmed transactions. Your transaction then gets picked up by a miner at some point and decides to mine your transaction and see if you get confirmed, or for some reason you fail. And there's any number of reasons you can fail, but the most common one, if the price moves, is going to be not enough coins out, right? So front running bots, what they do is they calculate what you've said is going to be your minimum. So let's just say we want to buy something, and for 1 ETH, and you would typically on the screen says you're going to get 1,100 coins. Well, with slippage that you set on Uniswap, it's going to say my minimum coins out is 1,000 or fail. Well, a bot will see that transaction in the unconfirmed pool, say, this guy's paying the market rate of 1,100. He's willing to take 1,000. I'm going to go ahead and buy right before him. That pumps the price, and he'll get only his 1,000 out, right? So he gets his 1,000. He's happy. I sell right after him. I basically buy right before him, sell right after him, and I profit the difference. That's what a front-running bot does. It essentially, you could think of it like stealing, you could think of it like anything you want, but it essentially siphons off the slippage that you've set.
Interesting. So, Chamber, did you know this was going on? Do you know how this works?
I did not know any of that. So that's when you say you don't know,
so.
assume that I definitely don't know.
Well, that's like I hear it all the time I see it in Twitter, like I see it all the time, and I just never really knew exactly what that meant. And then in the context of this conversation, I was like, oh, okay, I'm getting that. I'm getting it a little bit. And then that explanation was perfect, I think.
And if you use something like DEX tools, which is common for Ethereum, that charting and especially in the table, it will show you those bots. And it doesn't always show you the bots, but it typically does see, hey, this guy bought and sold, and you can see like a little red spy looking icon. If you've ever seen that icon on DEX tools, that's basically a front running bot, and you can hover over it and see how much Ethereum they actually made, wrapping around your transaction or somebody else's transaction, for example.
Man, that's very interesting. So now to your project, Trade Butler Bot. What in essence what is it? So let's start there. What is Trade Butler Bot, and how does it work?
Yeah, basically Trade Butler is a local bot, and it started off as a command line, but now we've developed a GUI or graphical user interface, and it lets you scan the Uniswap price feed, or now we have a few other DEXs that work with it, and execute trades on your behalf at your given settings. So limit orders, trailing buys, trailing stops, stop losses, all of those sort of features are possible. And the biggest benefit to a local bot versus, let's say, an online limit order system or contract-based system is just going to be speed of execution. It's done in milliseconds as opposed to several seconds or minutes.
Interesting. So you said that it works. We were talking Uniswap. So let's start with that. So exactly what is it doing on the local level from when you're trying to execute a Uniswap trade? Like, is it, am I able to set a potential limit order on Uniswap? How does that all work?
Yeah, so the standard way is basically doing a limit for buy or sell, and it's going to wait until that price is hit and then execute the trade for you. But we have come out with a few other features, one of which is just an instant trade, which is essentially like using Uniswap interface, except that when you click the buy button, it's instantly posted to the blockchain. So a lot faster, uses pre-set up gas settings, or it quickly before your trade goes live will scan Etherscan and use fast gas plus how much ever, or if you want to use normal gas, it can do that too. But the typical way is going to be the scanning way, where you set up a trade strategy, you put in your limit price, any of the other settings that you want to have, and it keeps scanning every how many ever seconds you set up, every 1 second, every 10 seconds, and so on.
Got it. So it's always looking for that price out on Uniswap, because exactly. I mean, I don't know about you, Chamber, but the way I've used Uniswap is basically the instant swap and like the essentially aping, correct?
Yeah,
Chamber?
No, absolutely. That's
it's a market buy, a market sell. That's
right, exactly. Right, so it's kind of interesting to think, okay, now I can have Uniswap and use it almost as I would a normal, a normal exchange interface, right? I mean, I think that has some pretty good value to it and then, not only that, but the speed portion. I was texting Chamber completely unrelated to this interview. I don't know last week, Chamber, when I had transactions that were just stuck for days and days and days, and they just never posted to the blockchain. I found out, and I had to go reset my whole MetaMask, and those trades never got executed, and they would have been great trades, and they ended up being not executed. So this seems like it would solve that problem too as well, right?
Yeah, a lot of the issue that you have there is that your Uniswap price feed, what you're seeing on the screen, is typically 30 seconds, it refreshes every 30 or so seconds. So if you have a coin or something that's moving a lot, or if the gas price is moving a lot, both of those issues kind of essentially can mess with you, where you have to go back and speed up your transaction, which is possible in MetaMask, but you have to always kind of babysit it, watch it. The same thing with Uniswap. There's no button, like I don't know if you've ever used 1inch, but 1inch is an aggregator, and it actually shows you a little when it's going to refresh its UI every 20 or 30 seconds, and you can press it to force a refresh. But Uniswap doesn't have that. It doesn't let you say, give me the latest price right before I click the buy button. So when you actually click the buy button, your price could already be 30 seconds old and really have already moved quite a lot since then. And on, if you're using TBB and you're seeing the scans, you'll actually, if you have Uniswap open right next to it, you'll actually see the price moving on TBB and nothing happening on Uniswap.
That's super interesting. So talk about how it helps save on the gas fees, because I feel like that is a huge issue that people are having right now. I think that, if you're not trading with Chamber, what was your tweet the other day about?
Yeah, if you're not trading with at minimum 2 to 3 Ethereum, like it's almost not, because of the fees. The percentage of fees is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like your fee percentage should be single digit, and I feel like for a lot of people it's not. Like you're
right, because if I'm trying to execute I think I was doing a $500 trade, so nothing massive, but not the smallest of potatoes, right? Like if I was doing a $500 trade and paying $80 for a transaction,
like even $60, like you know what I mean? Like that's crazy. Like it's too much.
That's painful.
That's just the reality of what Ethereum's become, and in preparation for that, there's really no solution for the small amount on Ethereum at the moment. Reducing gas fees is really, in TBB, is really just about not having transactions fail. Because when you have a transaction fail, you're still burning some amount of gas. And when you do that several times, obviously that you can go to fees.wtf and see where you're at. But most people would be pretty surprised by that website.
I'm sorry. So you can go to fees.wtf, put in your
connect your MetaMask, and it will tell you how much you've spent, how much is a failed transaction, and what that Ethereum price is worth today. I know people that are over 100 Ethereum in gas fees easily.
Chamber, did you just go do it live? Because I just did it live.
What does it give you your fee total?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So just to go on your point there, 8 of my transactions have failed, and it cost me 0.013 Ethereum.
Hey, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, well, but this is a pretty fresh MetaMask, so like I haven't done a ton on this. So I've done 80 transactions, but that's still not bad.
How old is yours?
Mine, it's not that old.
I think mine's pretty new. I had a hack.
You had your hack, yes.
So I want to say this is probably like, say, November 1st.
Okay, mine's probably a little older than that, but you know me, I wasn't trading a ton.
Right.
So.
And sorry, what were you at for total spend?
Spend, just in failed transactions, I was 0.013, but I've spent 0.74 on gas, so almost the whole Ethereum.
That's crazy. So I've spent over 2 Ethereum on gas.
Wow.
Since November. I've spent 0.084 on 16 failed transactions.
Wow.
So I've used almost $3,700 in fees.
So in terms of what we've done, a few weeks before this whole Ethereum, gas price has been just slowly going up, the average gas price, we've actually moved or have started developing the ability to trade on Binance Smart Chain. BSC is sponsored by Binance, and it's essentially an Ethereum clone. The way that the way that gas fees are a lot less is that it's a proof of authority chain, meaning there's several, and not really that many, I believe 10 to 15 super miners, and they mine your transactions, and gas gwei is fixed to 10 gwei right now. When I started, it was 20. But you only have to pay 10 gwei, and a BNB right now, it did go up quite a bit. When I bought in, it was like $40. Now it's 170 as of today.
Oh my God! What did we sell at Chamber? 110.
Yeah, like 115, 110, something like that.
So BNB is a lot cheaper combined with 10 gwei gas, and a swap on Pancake Swap costs you all of 20 cents as of today, or 25 cents. So that's really the only solution people have is, this is essentially like a layer 2. I mean, there's XDAI, there's Matic, there's several other layer 2 solutions, but nothing's been officially accepted by the majority of DeFi. A side chain like this is essentially what a lot of smaller transactions really need. Buying a new coin that you're just throwing $100 into, it's really easy on Binance Smart Chain, and it's not only just easy, but it's very, very cheap. Your transaction is confirmed in 2 to 3 seconds. Block lengths are 3 seconds, I believe. So they're a lot shorter than Ethereum's 15 seconds. And you're not just sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting for transactions to get confirmed. So a lot of people are moving over just because of the small transactions. Now, bigger transactions, there's deeper liquidity on Uniswap. But like you guys mentioned, it's really not worth the small trades under $500.
Yeah, that's wild. So that's super interesting. Chamber, have you used any of that BSC stuff yet?
No. Does that have anything to do with Pancake Swap? Because I keep seeing that around.
Yep, Pancake Swap is on BSC, and now their coin Cake is 1 billion market cap as of today. Really, it's pretty far up there. Really big on Binance Smart Chain right now is farming. So what used to be big on Ethereum is big over there because the fees are just so much less. Nobody cares that much about gas fees, whereas on Ethereum, people care a lot about them, and a lot of the farms kind of went away because of just the gas costs. You have to approve your token, you have to stake the token, you have to give liquidity, you have to there's like 10 transactions before you even start making money, right?
Like it's crazy. And to be honest with you, you can have a fairly good portion, like dollar-wise, staking or farming, and even the yield, the gas fees to claim your yield, it's almost irrelevant. You're like, well, there are some that I have a good amount of money on. And I'm looking right now. I'm like, okay, I could claim, but I'm like, it's going to cost me. I'll click on it right now. To claim, it's going to cost me $120. So I'm like, okay, or I could just wait a little longer till that stack gets a little bit more, right? So the fees aren't eating into my profits. So it's a big problem.
On Binance, Binance Smart Chain specifically, not their centralized exchange. Staking and claiming, harvesting, and all that stuff is costing you, 20 cents, 30 cents like this. And on a fast, yield farm, like a friend of mine released a few days ago, you're harvesting every 15 minutes because you're making $500.
I want that one. I want to go on that one. I'm ready to make a pivot.
That's funny.
Farms are big there, and especially, there's not as much liquidity over there, which a lot of people think is a negative thing. In terms of farming, it's actually a bit more of a benefit that those big whales with $20 million are not going to jump right into your pool and farm in that 1 hour and then basically suck all the liquidity out. I mean, a lot of farms are ruined on Ethereum just because a lot of money can be farmed right away, whereas on BSC right now, there's not that much of it going on. So the price actually relatively on a lot of farming projects is fairly stable by comparison.
Interesting. That Chamber, you're going to be making a switch soon, it sounds like, huh?
Yeah, I know. As soon as somebody walks me through it like I'm 5 years old, I'll absolutely make the switch.
Fantastic. So, what makes we actually it's interesting. We actually for the first time ever had somebody on I don't know, a couple of weeks ago that was talking about a trading bot that they created, and so now we have you on here. What makes TBB different than, I would say, I guess a normal trading bot? This one was working on like FTX and things like that. So what makes Trade Butler Bot different?
Well, I'm not certain exactly which bot that is. However, I have used, before I programmed TBB myself, I did use several other solutions that were available and other, what are now competitors, just because I have the feeling of, if it's already out there, if it already works, I'm going to use it. Even as a developer, if I can do something, there's not really a point for me to recreate the wheel. The issue that I had with other ones were their resolution was a lot lower, and what that means is that if you put in a price, let's say in Ethereum, 0.1 Ethereum, okay, can do that just fine. But as soon as you get into these coins that have a lot of, they're high minted, so the 0.0001 Ethereum is like your limit that you're setting. They could only do out to certain, I think, 3 decimal places. So they would have to wait for quite a substantial change in price to even execute your trade. A lot of other ones also, like for example, you can do a 0x limit order on 1 inch, and you post it over to the blockchain. It costs you some gas to say, I want to do this, and put a limit order. What it's actually doing is it's putting it in a contract, and it's relying on another bot to go and execute that trade, usually an arbitration bot that says, aha, this guy wants to buy for this price, and I can go instantly sell for this price, so I'm going to execute that and sell it to the market and profit that very small difference. So you usually have to wait for the price to go a little bit past your set point in that way. So you're not really ever getting the best price in a lot of those situations. The other thing is usually they use a custom contract, which, as you noted, aggregators are nice and they're convenient, and sometimes they can save you money, but a lot of times they do cost more in gas because they're not going straight to the Uniswap router. Whereas we do go straight to the Uniswap router, so it's just like you're using Uniswap to the blockchain and 2 fees. The only difference is you have to hold 1 or 4 or 8 TBB on ETH to use the features.
Interesting. So let's talk about that. So how does the actual functionality work? So we're looking at the website here where it says simply hold TBB to use Trade Butler. So walk us through how that works and then kind of what those different levels might look like.
Yeah, so for Ethereum, we have different prices for Binance because of the cost difference. But for Ethereum, you hold 1 TBB in your wallet, and that unlocks quite a lot of the software. And essentially, it's a license fee. It's a transferable license fee. You can sell it back to Uniswap if you don't feel like you like the bot anymore, or you want to upgrade to the next tier. You buy 3 more, and you're now in the mid tier, which is 4 TBB. And you simply hold it in your wallet, and it lets you execute trades and do everything. We also have in our Discord some private channels where you can link up with a bot in Discord and get access to those private channels by holding that in your wallet. So we provide a lot more to the 8 TBB level just because the features in the bot are, if you notice on the website, there's a lot at 1 and there's a lot at 4. There's only one unique feature at the moment, the sniper, at the 8 TBB level. So we provide some extra info in our private chat in Discord, and sometimes whitelists for people. If we know another developer making a project, we'll try to get some allocation for people and give it away there. So
now I did see about that sniper. So explain what that does, because I thought that sounded like a pretty interesting feature.
Yeah, it's kind of an advanced feature in the sense that you have more requirements than you would typically do for trading. In other words, you need a fast node like Infura or QuickNode or Alchemy. Those are typically what people use to interface with the blockchain. And you can go get a free Infura key, and that's what most people use just for regular trading. But when it comes to mempool, that's typically what people call the unconfirmed transactions. And what you're doing there is you're scanning those, and right now there's a lot of them. That's why gas is so high. But you're essentially scanning every single one of those, looking for a liquidity add event to a project that is just releasing. So this is typically for sniping that first release of a project and getting in, ideally, right as it lists on Uniswap. Or it's really before anybody who's human even sees it listed on Uniswap and can buy it on Uniswap, you have actually already bought and could have actually already sold that token for quite a substantial profit.
Very interesting. So, yeah, that sounds like it would be a pretty good advantage depending on how you use it. So how do the tokenomics of TBB work? So I'm looking at this right now, and it says there's only a max token supply of 2,000.
That's right. There's only 2,000. I have some team tokens that are locked up in team finance, but the majority of them are either out being used by people or they're locked in liquidity on Uniswap for purchase. So essentially all you have to do is hold the token and you get to use the software. So really that's about it. As far as the actual amount goes for the future, if the price of TBB just keeps going up and up, which I obviously hope it does, we can lower tier requirements. So we've told people we're not planning to ever raise the requirement or make it to where, oh, surprise, now you have to hold 2 TBB for what was the 1 TBB level. But if the price does become unreasonable, we do have to lower the requirements. In other words, take 1 TBB down to 0.9 and then let everybody who holds TBB sell off their 0.1 token and bring the price down a little bit, but it'll allow for onboarding of new bot operators and new tokens going back into the pool.
Sure.
So that's essentially the plans for tokenomics in the future.
Interesting. So does that technically mean then there can only be 2,000 copies of it out in the world? Is that
at the moment, less, because you really can't buy every single token on Uniswap, right? Mm-hmm. That last token is going to be really expensive. So
right.
It's less, and again, the combating factor to that is lowering the price, or is lowering the requirements to use the software. And that's essentially what we would have to do, because it's not reasonable to ask people to pay $50,000 for one copy of the base level of the software or something of that nature. So it does have to go down at some point, but the people that buy in earlier are essentially going to be getting the benefit of being able to sell their tokens off later on for a profit.
Interesting. What are your thoughts, Chamber?
I'm just going on and buying some right now, actually.
That's funny.
I know we're laughing, but I'm not joking.
If you notice the tokenomics on the website, holding 0.2 of the token gets you the same access as 1 TBB does on Ethereum on Binance Smart Chain.
Right. So if you're going to go change over to be a BSC Chamber, you can get it for much less.
Right. We do have some requests from people to essentially launch a new token on Binance. I'm still exploring options there, though. But either way, our commitment to essentially never changing our pricing tier means if you buy it on ETH, it will always work on BSC, since we've already enabled that. The BSC only token would be for people that never plan to use it on ETH.
Right, or
the software
didn't have the money to buy one full one or whatever it is. But yeah, so if you have it on ETH, most of the people
on Binance, they're never planning to buy anything on ETH. They don't have any assets there, and they don't want to pay the gas fees, for or 0.2 tokens. So, you pay more in gas than you do for those tokens, really. So that's really what we're trying to figure out, how we're going to get some tokens over there. We could bridge them. It would only be available once liquidity unlocks in about a month, but that's also a possibility. So we're seeing what we can do there.
So yeah, I can buy some. I was gonna say, is there liquidity on Uniswap right now? I think there is. There is
quite a bit of liquidity on Uniswap. That's where all of our liquidity is at the moment.
And so how many do I need? How many do I need?
You need one.
I know, but how many do I really need?
Yeah, I mean, you need,
like 6.
So the tiers are 1, 4, and 8 on Ethereum. So 8 would be your maximum. But if you plan to actually use the mempool sniper, that would be another question. Do you want to do that? And if you do, the best way to do that is to by holding liquidity provider tokens. So taking half of your TBB and providing liquidity and minting 3 Uniswap liquidity provider tokens. That'll get you access to the mempool botting with no fees. Otherwise, at 8 TBB level, you do have some fees to use the mempool sniper.
Okay, all right. So let's okay, all right. I'm gonna make some moves here. You guys carry on. I'll just do some trading in the
Oh man, that's funny. So the last thing here, just to touch on, is kind of what is coming up for Trade Butler Bot. So like I see the roadmap up here, and it looks like a bunch of the stuff you've already actually hit, but it looks like there's a couple other things that are in the works from a feature standpoint. Want to touch on those?
Yeah. Major features right now are not our next focus, to be honest.
Okay.
We've pushed out, the GUI and the mempool sniper, which were really heavily wanted. And what we're trying to do now is, number one, I actually do have an audit, which is pending as of today, and I have some testing left to do, but has already been completed and will be published very soon. So audit, basically telling people that your private keys that you put in are safe and are encrypted and held in a logical manner, and obviously not being sent off to me or something of that nefarious nature. In addition, we are redesigning some of the GUI. The GUI, as it exists right now today, does work and lets people who are really uncomfortable with the command line, it lets them basically use the software, but it is a little bit more on the rough side. In other words, it's not as sleek as Uniswap is right now, and we are redesigning it with both light mode and dark mode, like many people are requesting.
Nice.
Yep.
Gotta love dark mode.
those are the major things that are on our horizon. Supporting more dexes. So right now we support Uniswap, SushiSwap, PancakeSwap, but over on Binance there's a few other, like StreetSwap is another one that we should be able to support. And it's really just if they provide an SDK and they have a swap contract, we can essentially integrate those into our software and allow people to switch between them. So the important part there is, wherever the liquidity is, really that's what you need. And most of the liquidity is on PancakeSwap, but on BSC, but other things are coming up. So in addition to that, we're going to see what the community kind of demands as the next major feature beyond, the GUI revamp and a few of those things. So we'll see. There's whale watching of wallets, being able to, see when your favorite whale buys something and, slide in a transaction right before them. A few other cool things that we can do that, if people demand it, we're gonna get to.
Chamber, who's your favorite whale?
I'm my own favorite whale.
Well, you could front run yourself. We have another wallet watching.
I'm neither a whale, nor a mammal. I like fish. But I am now a proud owner of...
wow, you bought 1 TBB?
I bought 8.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm on.
All right.
Wow, look at
So
you.
you can get into Discord and verify your wallet there and get into the secret chat.
Oh my goodness, I'm on the inside, Bunchu. I'm on the inside.
You're on the inside.
Moments away.
Indeed.
All right.
Holy cow, look at you. That is amazing. So before we get wrapped up here, how about, you mentioned there were some pretty nice, success stories that you've seen so far. Do you care to touch on those at all?
Oh, yes. Although, obviously can't share details of who and all those sort of things, almost every major release, there's reports of one TBB user being very high up either in the mempool sniping, or the instant trade that I mentioned. There's a lot of people using that to straight away buy as soon as it's listed on Uniswap, and it'll buy a little bit later than a mempool sniper, but for a lot of people it gives them a little bit more control. You can also scan and buy straight away, and those people are making, the last report I saw was 40,000 profit using about the same 40,000 in capital. So people are typically getting, within seconds, really, a 2x on their money.
So, Chamber, what are your thoughts? Are you going to be sniping mempools or what?
I'm going to be trying to figure out how to snipe some mempools. Basically, what's going to happen is I'm going to figure out Draukan's either Telegram handle or Twitter handle, and I'm just going to be DMing him consistently until I figure out what's going on.
I have it just from talking to him for the podcast now. So for a nominal fee, a nominal fee of 1 TBB, I will give you his handle.
Jeez. Maybe I'll try to earn it first, but then if not, I'll buy it.
Perfect. But yeah, so I think that's a good place to stop. I think we got a lot of good info about what Trade Butler Bot does, how it works, and what you can expect from it in the future and how to use it. So, Draukan, anything else you want to add at the end, or if not, just let the people know where they can find Trade Butler Bot, yourself, and all of the awesome things you got going on.
Yeah, I think that's about it. The best place to check out all of our info is going to be our website, tradebutlerbot.app, app, and that'll get you links into Telegram, into Discord. I highly suggest joining Discord. There's a lot more channels we have there, a lot of links, a lot of help, and getting set up. There's actually a user just posted today how to set up the bot, how to add liquidity, how to set it up for Binance Smart Chain. So there's a whole lot from both us as well as users.
Awesome. So definitely head over to Discord. You know the deal. Everybody, the best communities are hanging on Discord. Telegram, Chamber, I've been being more and more of a Discord guy lately. How about yourself?
I dabble it. I go through phases with Discord. Like I'll be in Discord a lot for maybe a couple of months, and then I'll kind of migrate back over to Telegram, and then I'm in Telegram. I feel like
it's so much easier with like communities, just because you can like room out everything and not just one giant chat.
I do like that. Like obviously with we've been doing NBA Top Shots, and they have a pretty good Discord. So I've been migrating back to Discord a little bit, but obviously I'll probably be neck deep in TBB Discord.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, although we have obviously both, I highly prefer Discord. There's help channel for us, so people can ask in Telegram, and if somebody's around, they'll definitely try to help you out. But if it's in the Discord, it's just so much more organized. I don't want to hate on Telegram too much, but I don't see how people can use it for anything other than just, simple chatting and if you happen to see stuff. But I definitely agree that anything that's on Discord to me is a serious project.
Awesome. So check them out, and thank you very much, Draukan, for coming on. We really appreciate your time. I think Chamber is very excited to get at it and start using it, and I probably won't be too far behind. So we appreciate your time, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. And that's going to do it for us today. Until next time, what do we got coming up, Chamber? I don't even know.
I don't even know what we have. That is the beauty of crypto, because you can go day by day. There could be a new celebrity that pops up this Friday we don't even know about yet, and he'll be on the show on Tuesday. So, you never know.
Awesome. Well, that's going to do it for us. Maybe we'll have a solo show. We do have another interview coming up next Wednesday.
Do we want to tease the other? Do we want to tease the other thing? Or is that going to jinx it?
I don't know.
I don't want to jinx it.
That's not in the bag yet, bro.
It's not even close to. It's sniff the bag, I would say.
Yeah, maybe.
We're bag sniffing.
Right. Okay, that's the hashtag for today's show. All right, that's going to do it for us. Until next time, don't get wrecked, and that is financial advice.
Hey, everybody, thanks for listening. You can help support us by giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and become a REKT patron by signing up for a monthly tier on patreon.com. That's patreon.com/REKT podcast. Don't get wrecked.